10 random cards rated day 245. There's a massive echo in here just then, man. I hope you're not hearing that. But let's move on to the first card of the day. It's Eternal Skylord from War of the Spark originally. Cool set. That's only 15 cents. 5 mana, 4 and a blue for a 3/3 zombie wizard when it ETBs. Amass, too. You guys remember Amass? You guys know Amass? I feel like people do know Amass because, like, Dreadhorde Invasion is a really popular, like, budget sort of, substitute for Bitter Blossom and stuff. So people have run across Amass for more than just that reason. But yeah, you put 2+1/+1 counters on an army you control. But if you don't already have an army, you get a 0/0 black zombie army creature token first. So you'll either get a 2/2 or you'll put 2 counters on one that you already control. So, but I've spent too long on this card already, I assume. It's just a drafty thing. But it is cool. Zombie tokens you control have flying. That's actually a really, really cool line of text. So I don't want you to kind of lose sight of that. It could be great. Not just with, your Dreadhorde Invasion and stuff, but just like all your zombie tokens. There's plenty of ways to get zombie tokens, right? So there's zombies that create tokens when they die, when they come into play, when they whatever. So there's just plenty of ways to get tokes is all I'm saying. And you could smoke them with your tokens if you throw this thing down. 5 mana might not be too much to ask for that. You can just alpha with all your zombie tokens. So maybe it's a fun little budget commander piece or something. I'm going to give it a 4. No. I'm going to give this a 3.8. Something like that. You might actually play this from time to time. Next is Arohar. What is that actually? It's Fling. Oh, it's Fling. All right. I feel like I learned that in Spanish class at some point. What are you originally from? Stronghold? Stronghold, bam. Never missed, except for when I do miss. It's not often. 2 mana, 1 and a red for an instant sack a creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrifice creature's power to target creature or player. You know what Fling does. You know what it does. It does not, in fact, mean a thing if it ain't got that Fling. Reprinted a million times. You can get it for like 10 cents or something, I'm sure. Dark Ascension, 10 cents. Card is absolutely wild and leads to a lot of just ended games. Both in 60 card, like 1v1 formats, but also in Commander, or just ends a player's game outright a lot of the time. So I will give this, oh man, I'm going to give Fling like a 6.2. And you can argue with me because it only really targets one thing, whatever, but just like Fling has led to a lot of really good times. And big wins and huge moments and the whole, card shop or the whole house going like, oh, like all at one time, for a lot of players. And I think that it deserves some real love, not just honorary 5 love, but like real, actual, like, let's acknowledge that it's at least above a 6 kind of card. It leads to a lot of fun stuff. And even though there's a lot of different ways to Fling stuff nowadays, I still think the OG is one of the best ways to do it. So love me some Fling. Let's go. Next is Selelesnia Eulogist. This is from Commander 2019. It's 3 mana, 2 and a green for a 3/3 Centaur Druid. You pay 2 and a green and exile target creature from a graveyard and then populate. Okay. That's all right. So create a token that's a copy of a token you control, in case you've never read Populate in your life, but you probably have because you've played some games of Commander. People do like Populate as a general rule. And this is actually not a bad deal, man. 30 cents for this rare from only one set ever. It's only 6 years old, but I will say too that the activated ability is kind of steep. 3 mana it's definitely not Scavenging Ooze, you know what I mean? But this can pinpoint like important cards in graveyards, and completely just blow out like Reanimator plays, keeping them honest at the very least. And then Populate too, like, I kind of like it, dude. I'm going to give this the 4. I wanted to give that other card. Sure, man. I think it deserves it. This is a good card. Seriously. Next is Rampant, or excuse me. Yeah, it's Rampant. I thought it was Rampart. It's Rampant Elephant from Invasion and Invasion only, but we're at 6 cents on this thing. 4 mana, 3 and a white for a 2/2 elephant. You can pay green and target creature blocks Rampant Elephant this turn if able. How is any elephant a 2/2? And to the best of my knowledge, this isn't the only 2/2 elephant in Magic history. There's no way an elephant's just a 2/2. Like, it's got to be at least a 3/3. You know what I mean? Come on. But a 4 mana 2/2 doesn't look great I will say, however, in Selelesnia decks, if you had enough green mana, you could just make like all of your opponent's creatures block this guy. You know what I mean? And so all of your other creatures get through. I'm a big fan of like lure effects. You know, obviously stuff like Taunting Elf is just going to be better. But this isn't, 4 mana is a lot, but is it too much to ask? Is it really too much to ask? You have to wait an entire turn to actually do anything with it. And your opponents know exactly what you're up to. But I don't know. You ever get a spot with it and you have enough green mana, you can basically alpha like somebody out of the game by making them block, just the elephant and nothing else. So I don't know, dude. I've always kind of had a soft spot for stuff like this, but I recognize that this is like mostly junk. But there is some junk in the trunk, elephant puns. This is like shouldn't this be a Loxodon? This is like a 3. I'll give it a 3. Next is Resistance Squad from Innistrad Crimson Vow. It's about 7 cents right now. 3 mana, 2 and a white for a 3/2 human soldier. When it ETBs, if you control another human, draw yourself a card, Jack. Okay. Nice little limited dude. I like keeping cards in my hand. I like playing stuff to the table, whatever. So I'll give it a 2.4. I like drawing cards. Next is Silver Bluff Bridge. At ETB's tapped, it's indestructible, and it taps for blue or red. So have we done indestructible artifact duels? I don't think we have. I'm going to give these a 5.2. A little bit more than a basic land, which I don't always give to these like comes into play tapped lands. But in this case, you get the extra benefit of it being an artifact, and indestructible will actually matter from time to time, especially depending on what you're playing. So I'm going to make this is slightly better than a basic, actually. Should I just say it's a 5? It's a 5. I'll just give it a 5. Right at the same as a basic. Next is Darksteel Ingot. This is another one you don't really see too much anymore, but it is another one where like the indestructibility matters. This is originally from, look at that, Darksteel. You still get one for about a quarter right now. 3 mana for an artifact. You can tap it for a mana of any color, and it is indestructible. So, it's indestructible. Huh? I guess there's some effects in Commander that tend to destroy all artifacts. So that's the thing I guess you have to worry about. And maybe you want to destroy all artifacts. Maybe you want to destroy all artifacts and lands. And so now you have like, you have the only mana on the table because of Darksteel Ingot. These used to be more popular strategies in Commander. They are not anymore. I really don't see this card ever in decks. Like even when I see like budget builds on YouTube, if somebody's going to put a 3 mana rock in, it's like, oh, just play Commander Spear or something like that, But 3 mana rocks in general are getting less and less important. And when you do see them, it's like Coalition Relic, Chromatic Lantern, like the good ones. So I'm not really seeing much of Ingot anymore. I will give it though a 3.9, just for old time's sake. Next is Workshop Assistant. This is 3 mana for a 1/2 construct. When it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's another one of these. It's like a mirror construct or something. Is that the name of that card? Am I getting that card right? But anyway, I've seen cards like this before. And this can lead to some pretty stout combos, especially in Commander. But that said, it's still only about 5 cents to purchase this card right now. So it ain't in everything, bud. You know what I mean? It's not really seeing all the play in the world, but I've always liked stuff like this because again, there are tricksy things you can do. So I will give this a 3.9, same as I just gave Ingot. I think that when you can find work for it, it's a pretty decent guy, but it's not really much to write home about. Next and finally, I guess, is Trawler Drake, but we've probably got time for a bonus card today, especially if our final card is Trawler Drake. This is from Phyrexia Albo. It too costs 1 nickel to buy here in the States. This is 3 mana, 2 and a blue for a 0/0 Phyrexian Drake with flying that enters the battlefield with an oil counter. Trawler Drake gets +1/+1 for each oil counter on it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on Trawler Drake. Okay. There was a time when this was like acceptable, I like basically anything with this line of text. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, do a thing. It really doesn't matter what it is. It satisfies a certain part of my brain. You know, it makes the card seem better to me, even if it's not. This is not playable in a competitive environment, and to be honest, it's not really playable in Commander, I would assume, either. This looks like a decent cube card, right? You know, anything that's trying to be like, is it Spellslinger? Like, maybe you could play this, but even then, I think you're going to put like Crackling Drake, Enigma Drake, Haughty Jin. There's like a million choices you could use for your cube instead of Trawler Drake, but, you know, maybe a powered down cube or one that's really trying to support. Is it Spellslinger cube? Could play this and like 20 other cards. I got to build that now. That'd be really, really fun. But anyway, this is not terrible. I stake a claim that this is not god awful because I do like this trigger and I like slinging spells around. But, you know, just in standard, wouldn't you rather have like a Chrome Host Seed Shark for exactly this mana cost? That'd be better. But either way, I kind of like it. I will give this a 3.7. So as not to be fooled by it. Bonus card. Bonus card is ThousandYear Elixir. That's pretty good. Originally from Lorwyn, this is 3 mana for an artifact. You may play the activated abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. You can also pay 1 and tap it to untap target creature, which can lead to some combos. So to say the least, you know, this card is about $13 really in any iteration that you want to buy it in, which is insane. This card did not used to be that much, right? I feel like the last time I looked at ThousandYear Elixir, it was like $5 or $6. But maybe I'm crazy, dude. The card is probably worth all of 8 to 10, though. This is in a lot of Commander decks, pretty obviously. It gives you kind of a Concordant Crossroads-y style effect, haste of sorts in any deck. It allows for combos that let creatures, you know, get blinked or bounced and played again or brought back in, you know, for whatever reason, you know, back and forth to the graveyard, allows for those to be tapped, sacrificed, come back in from the graveyard, tap again, and again, combos all day with this thing. Not to mention, obviously, the untapped target creature ability on it is pretty strong too. So this is amazing in a lot of Commander decks, and any Commander deck could theoretically play it because it's an artifact. I have to give ThousandYear Elixir. Jeez, ask the audience. It's Thursday and I haven't asked the audience yet, and you guys might actually be a lot more experienced with kind of what this card does in Commander than me, because I have not run up against it in a game. I've seen it in like YouTube games of Commander, but I've never actually played against this card in Commander. So again, maybe you have like, you know, stories from the war or something that you could tell me about TYE. Because I've heard a lot about the card, and I've read the card a bunch of times. I've seen it wreak havoc, again, on camera, but I've never actually experienced the card for myself. So I want you to rate the card, and let me know what you think. And I think I've given you enough time to think about it without tainting it with my own rating. I'm going to give this a 6.4. Because, again, we're rating for casual Commander. And I think that this does too much in that format to sort of take lightly. So final card of the day is maybe one of the better cards of the day, actually. But I will see you guys bright and early on Friday afternoon. Won't you be happy it's Friday? Honestly, when you make your own hours and you do a YouTube channel, weekends don't matter so much. So I guess it's not a big deal for me. But a lot of you, it's awesome that it's going to be Friday. I'll see you then. Bye.